Well, there was the book. Then the movie, and now, 50 years on, we have Our Man in Havana being presented in Melbourne by one of our outstanding opera companies in this town, the Lyric Opera. Under the direction of Suzanne Chaundy, Our Man in Havana is an opening show in September the 17th, I think it is, at the Athenaeum 2 in Collins Street. Suzanne is my next guest. She's online right now. Welcome in, Suzanne. Nice to have you with us.
Hi, Lee. How are you?
Doing well, thank you. Yes, 50 years on, and it's all coming back to us, Our Man.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's such a wonderful piece, and it's such an honour to actually have the opportunity to produce it. I was involved in a concert presentation of it, 20-odd years ago, and it's high time there was a production of this really, really entertaining opera. So, yeah, it's great.
Well, we had the movie, we had all the shows around, of course, and you're bringing it now onto stage at the Athenaeum too. That's quite an intimate little space up there at the Athenaeum. It should work very, very well for you.
Yeah, I think so, because, as the title implies, the work is set in Havana, and we're taking some of our inspiration from the Havana-style nightclubs of the Buena Vista Social Club, and so it'll have that kind of intimate feel for the audience, cabaret tables, and up close and personal with the opera singers. The orchestra are not going to be in a pit, they're going to be in more of a bandstand kind of arrangement, so it's quite an unusual way to see a work.
Well, this is a revival, and of course it's a revival of an Australian composer, Malcolm Williamson, isn't it, and his work. So he was an outstanding composer in his time, wasn't he?
Yeah, look, and probably achieved more fame overseas than
Yes.
he did in Australia. He
Yes.
went to England and was actually, rose through the ranks very rapidly there as a highly respected classical musician, but also working as a jazz musician. He crossed over to a lot of different genres, and that's reflected in his music as well.
Now, the show is set in Cuba. It's during the era of the Cold War, of course, and the Cuban Missile Crisis, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
Now, our man Bramble is recruited, I believe, to the British Secret Service. Tell us what happens.
Yeah. So our man Bramble is really a very nondescript, quiet little reserved individual who's going broke he's a single dad. His wife's left him. He's got a daughter turning 16 who is the most beautiful thing that is wandering the streets of Havana, and there's a lot of interest in her. She wants to spend a lot of money. The captain of the police is wooing her. She wants ponies, she wants saddles, she wants dresses, she wants to be in the country club. And poor Bramble's selling about, one vacuum cleaner every 6 months, going, how on earth am I going to actually be able to support this? And out of the blue, in wanders this rather strange man called Hawthorne, a British man, and starts to talk to him about needing to recruit a man. And first of all, Bramble's like, you've got to be kidding. But suddenly he goes, I could do with the money. And that's where it all starts.
It all begins, yeah.
All the balls begin to fall into place.
One of the great things about this opera, it is sung in English.
Yep, and it's meant to be. It was written in English and it's sung in English. And interestingly, it's a very, very strong libretto, and it's very, very funny. And it was written by the person who wrote the screenplay for the movie. So, yeah.
I believe that Williamson himself, wasn't he under an appointment to the Queen at one stage? And supposed to do some composition in 1975, but that didn't eventuate apparently, and he got
he had
it was the Queen's Jubilee, wasn't it? He was doing some writing.
Yeah, he had a great kind of unfinished work there, and those things fell apart a bit for him. He had quite a tumultuous personal life, and had a few demons that he struggled with throughout his life. So
I was reading about those the other day.
Sometimes those demons came up and possessed him at the least opportune moments, particularly when he was about to do one of the most high-profile things in his entire life.
Goodness. Our Man in Havana has got an outstanding cast, but you are featuring one of the actors who was in Cats some time back, and that's Jason Wosley.
Jason Wosley, yeah.
Tell me about his part. Because he's Bramble, of course.
Jason is Bramble, and it's very interesting to know that Jason in real life has a 16-year-old daughter, so he can relate with great personal experience to what Bramble's going through.
But perhaps his daughter's not walking down the main street.
No. But Jason's an outstanding singer, and he's a very fine opera singer. He did that crossover into Cats, but primarily he's known for his his wonderful tenor. He's quite got quite strong held and tenor qualities, but, you know, he's a very, very versatile, strong musician, strong actor, so we're really blessed to have Jason in the cast.
Well, Suzanne, you're no stranger, of course, to the stage, because you trained as a director at NIDA.
Yeah.
And then you've been involved with The Marriage of Figaro, Don Pasquale, with the Western Australian company, La Boheme. Look, the credits go on and on and on. Lots of Mozart's work in there, I see. I just absolutely love Mozart. You were involved in the IMG's West Side Story, I was reading the other day. So how do you fit everything in?
Oh, gosh, well, it's a constant, you know, juggle of schedules, I have to say, you know, because I am a freelancer. I don't work with any one particular company. So, yeah, it's always just trying to manage your preparation as well as possible. I've had a couple of, you know, not totally quiet months, but I've got 3 operas in a row at the moment. I'm directing Tannhäuser for Melbourne Opera. Then I go straight into the Malcolm Williamson, and then after that I'll be directing Anna Bolena for Melbourne Opera. So it's a matter of using the time that I have prior to this to be really thoroughly, you know, disciplined and prepared for everything that I'm going into. That's the only way to do it.
Tell me about that discipline that you have to employ when you come into a show such as this. What do you do?
Well, I mean, first and foremost, you need to have a very, very thorough knowledge of the libretto and the music and what the music's telling you about the libretto. I need to go, for a show like this, I need to go in with a pretty clear concept of how it's going to exist on stage. Not down to the nth degree of knowing exactly who's moving where every time. There's some freedom and room, but to have a very kind of clear overall picture of how I want the work to move through the space and grow, because we just don't have enough time to change our mind, you know. And in opera, it's not like plays where you can be a lot more flexible in play. And I do direct plays sometimes. You know, when it comes down to it, sometimes for the play you can change it quite radically in the last few days before you open, and it's with minimal impact, but it's different for singers because the music embeds itself in people in different ways, and you kind of have a stronger physical connection with the text, I think, that way. So you need to be fairly clear on what you're developing with singers.
Well, Suzanne, it's a case of keeping your finger on the pulse, isn't it?
That's
what it is, yeah. Now, you're opening at the Athenaeum, we were saying there, and it's coming up with my date here. Yes, upstairs, yes, a great space. The date was, and I've lost it for a minute.
September the 17th we're opening.
That's it, got it here now. And it's only a few performances, so please, folk, do look into that.
Look, it's an opportunity to tap into the very, very rarely seen canon of great works by Australian composers. And it's really exciting, and it's really important for us to recognise that we do have that work that's been developed by Australian artists, and not only by the, you know, famous operatic composers, the Puccinis and the, you know, the Verdis and all of those people.
Yes, we can do it ourselves here too, and that's wonderful. Suzanne, thank you for your time today. It's the Lyric Opera's production of Our Man in Havana, and it's coming to the Athenaeum middle of the month.